Hi everybody. So today we're going to make the classical meatloaf. We haven't had this particular dish in such a long time. I think the last time I've eaten it was when I was probably in my teens. But we're going to make the classical meatloaf, and it's just a rendition of things that I picked up here and there from different recipes from the internet. And for those of us that are kind of watching our diet, we're going to do a fried cauliflower on the side. All right, so here we go. The first thing we're gonna do is basically get your oven started on broil because we want to try to use up whatever bread we have. I've got this bread, little pieces of, I think this was a baguette that's sliced up, and we're gonna put it in the oven to broil. All right. So we're gonna broil them for a few minutes, probably like 10 minutes, until they're like totally crispy and crunchy, and then we'll pull them out when they're done. As far as the beef goes, the meat that I use is just basically 80% lean with 20% fat, because I don't eat pork. So I use the beef, ground beef that has a little bit more fat than the norm, to give it that more of the moist flavor. And then these are all the ingredients that we're gonna use today to making it. Of course, our cauliflower. It's for the side dish. And we're gonna use this cast iron pan, Christy Teigen, my fave. Okay, so that's how crispy you want them. They look, yeah, darker, little darkish golden brown, but we want them to be crunchy and flaky. We're gonna let this cool down for a bit, and then we're gonna soak it up in the tomato juice. All right, so there's your meat. Sharpen it up first. So we're gonna chop up your onion. By the way, it tells in different recipes, they tell you to actually use a food processor to blend the vegetables before stir frying them. But I like to be able to, I'm a texture person, so I like to be able to taste and feel and know what I'm eating. We're gonna chop these up. Garlic enhances the flavor, so I'm using about 5 cloves. Mince them the best that you can. So all of this is going to go right into the pot. Peppers. It's always good to spice up anything that you eat. Brings out more flavor to the dish and gives it a nice kick. Got our celery we're gonna chop up as well. Take the bottom. So now we're going to take all of this and we're going to pre-start frying this on a pan, and then we'll add our mushrooms and chop those up as well, okay? We're going to heat up the pan. Sure it's nice and hot. Put some olive oil. And once your pan is nice and hot, we'll start frying up. We're not trying to golden brown the garlic or anything. We just need to kind of fry it up and sweat it. So in here I have garlic, onions, the red chili pepper, and my chopped up celery. And while that's simmering, I'm going to start cutting up my mushrooms. Chop them up in this sense until you see not finely chopped, but just enough so you don't have the bigger chunks in there. But I wanted to make it to where I can actually taste the bites. When you actually get a whiff out of that, you could smell the pepper that's in there. It's pretty strong. So this is what I have in regards to our quarantine month, and I want to make sure I use up all the good cans, the canned goods that I have before they expire, because all of us that went crazy buying crap, use up what you have in your pantry before doing so, because I think it's just a waste of food. So I'm going to add some red wine in there and other stuff to soak in the bread crumbs. You can use whatever red wine that you have. Since I've already opened up the lovely Chateau Saint Michelle wine, really bad. Of course, you gotta pour some for yourself. Toast. If you notice, I don't have certain measurements. I wing everything that I do. And then we're gonna get the breadcrumbs and crumble it right into there. I'm gonna have to chop these up. Okay, so I kind of chopped it and it looks like this. Yes, it kind of looks like stuffing, but again, it's gonna have all that texture. We're soaking it in with the tomato, the red wine, and the Worcestershire sauce. So it looks like here we have our meat, the ground beef, the soaked breads, crumbs, and then of course our sauteed veggies and stuff. So dried parsley flakes. So I already have the ground pepper and the kosher salt in there. And the dried sweet basil flakes. A sip of wine. Okay, so I'm gonna mix all of that. All right, so we're gonna add this. This is our tomato sauce with the red wine and Worcestershires, or tomato, chunks tomato. If you could only smell this, it's actually starting to smell really delicious. And the other ingredients that we sauteed from earlier. And we mix. That was sloppy. I dropped something. And then alright, just took a handful and just kind of crumble it. And just a few more. We'll use the rest of it. This will use a spatula. Stir and mix. And since we have a little bit more, a lot of meat, I forget how many pounds of meat that I got. I'm going to put 2 eggs versus 1. all of that together. All right, so this is all done. We're going to turn on the oven at 350. So these are my stoneware baking pans that we're gonna use. Cast iron ones. We're gonna get some olive oil, drizzle it in there. And then the pan is based. So that way it's easier to cut and remove your meatloaf when it's done. And after this, we're gonna make the sauce, the gravy that's gonna go on the meatloaf. Okay, bam, that's done. Now we're just going to plop the meatloaf into there. I mean, it looks like I did it right. Evenly distributing them into the two pans. Okay, so this is what it should look like, ready to go in the oven. And we made 2 of them. So as soon as the oven heats up, we'll go ahead and start that. Other than that, we'll go and start the next dish. Okay, so right now we have our meatloaf in the oven. We have our quinoa boiling, and quinoa doesn't take that long to do, and so you just, I add a little bit of the chicken stock into here to kind of flavor it. So I'm just kind of mixing it up for a little bit. Hello, I'm back again. I'm using my husband's camera because mine died. All right, so we had to add more chicken stock into the quinoa. You want it to where you start seeing it pop out of that little shell. Then you know it's cooked. I have something in my, oh my god, I have something in my eyeball. So in the pan on medium heat, we're going to go ahead and place some garlic and some shallots. Saute that. Again, this is just for flavoring. Turn on the pan. You could only smell when garlic and shallot is fried. Oh gosh. It smells so delicious. So I don't have time to get a full cauliflower head and then shred it and dice it into looking like this. I just get the bag ones. Perfect. So you're gonna add all of that in there. And saute. We're going to add the quinoa. might have kind of overdid it. But it's okay. They can have it for tomorrow as well, because I like to cook a lot. Okay. So put your pan on medium heat because you don't want to burn anything. And you want to salt, kosher salt. Pepper. So this is actually a good side dish to have if you don't want to do rice, but you just want to keep it light. Obviously with this you got to keep stirring it because you don't want the quinoa to burn on the bottom of the pan, which is starting to stick. And use coconut oil instead of regular olive oil to just kind of flavor it a little bit more. Turn off the heat. See what it tastes like. You might add a little bit more seasoning to it. That's really good. Okay, our final side, which is the gravy for the meatloaf. Just checking on my meatloaf right now. It looks like that. We're gonna do the gravy. And the ingredients for this is very simple. You got your minced garlic, shallots, and then chicken stock, then of course the cream of mushroom, and then we'll add flour onto it. Right now for the gravy for the meatloaf, I'm doing the mushroom gravy. So you saute in a pan with a little bit of olive oil, some shallots and garlic, and then you add your cream of mushroom. Do a can, depending on how many meatloaf pans that you did, loaves that you did, will determine how much cans of cream of mushroom you're going to use. And then I added also to it some chicken stock, so then it looks like this so far. To make it thicker, because right now it's on medium and it's simmering, I'm going to add probably a couple tablespoons of flour. Mentioned there is your finished product on the quinoa cauliflower side, and then in the oven as we speak are the meatloaves, and they're looking good. Not bad for somebody to create those from the scratch in the beginning. Hope they taste good. Okay, so oops. It's coming down to a simmer, and I added some seasoning onto the gravy, which is some salt and pepper and parsley flakes. And so we're just gonna stir and mix all that up. A little thick, but not as thick as what we want gravy to look. So we're gonna add some tablespoons of flour into there, probably 2 tablespoons. Yes, it is. Okay, so our final product is done, and just to give you an idea what it looks like, that is the meatloaf. That is the gravy that I mashed and poured some in there without all that gunk. And your quinoa cauliflower. There you go. That's the dinner for tonight. Meatloaf with quinoa cauliflower on the side and mushroom gravy on top. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hit like if you like it. Okay, so basically a rundown in regards to what we created today in the kitchen is my rendition of homemade meatloaf with the mushroom gravy sauce on top. And on the side dish would be the quinoa cauliflower fried. Kind of like a fried rice, but instead you got quinoa and cauliflower. So that is our dinner for tonight, and basically watch this video. It takes you step by step in regards to what I put in the ingredients and mixes. There's no particular measurements. I just kind of wing it, and that's how I cook. I'm no chef, but I just love to cook in the kitchen. So hopefully you like it and you enjoy it. Let me know. And here is the finished plated product. Meatloaf with mushroom gravy and a side of quinoa cauliflower fried rice.